The Unsanctioned Angel of Kigali. April 6, 1994. A single act of violence plunges a nation into madness. In the heart of Africa, the green hills of Rwanda would soon be soaked in blood. The world called it a civil conflict. Those on the ground knew it by a different name: genocide. The United Nations mission, UNAMIR, was deployed to keep a peace that no longer existed. Their mandate was clear and crippling: observe and report. Do not intervene. They were soldiers ordered to be spectators to a slaughter. Amidst this paralysis, amidst the failure of nations and the collapse of humanity, one man chose to defy his orders. He did not carry a weapon of war, but a weapon far more powerful: his conscience. He was a Senegalese captain, a military observer, a man whose laughter was as big as his heart. His name was Mbaye Diagne, and in the darkest 100 days of the 20th century, he would become an unsanctioned one-man rescue mission. This is the story of how one unarmed soldier, armed only with courage and charisma, drove through the checkpoints of hell to save the innocent, becoming the Schindler of Rwanda, the first defiance. The genocide began with targeted assassinations. The Prime Minister, Agatha Uwilingiyimana, a moderate Hutu, was a primary target. As murderous militias surrounded her home, she and her family sought refuge. Her children were hidden. The Prime Minister herself would be found and brutally murdered. In the ensuing chaos, her 4 children remained trapped, their fate seemingly sealed. The UN compound was nearby, but the rules of engagement forbade intervention. For Captain Diagne, observing children waiting to be slaughtered was not an option. This was his moment of choice. A choice between following orders and following his humanity. Without asking for permission, which he knew would be denied, Diagne acted. He got into his unarmored UN Jeep. He hid the terrified children under a blanket in the back. He drove straight towards the very killers who had just murdered their mother. He did not engage them with force. He engaged them with a smile, a joke, a few cigarettes. He was disarming not with a rifle, but with his sheer, unbelievable audacity. The killers, confused by this cheerful, confident officer who seemed oblivious to the carnage around him, waved him through. That day, he delivered the Prime Minister's children to the safety of the Hôtel des Mille Collines. It was his first unsanctioned rescue. It would not be his last. He had crossed a line, and he would never look back. The lifeline of Kigali. Captain Diagne's Jeep became a lifeline in a city of death. Every morning he would set out alone. He created a network, learning of Tutsis and moderate Hutus in hiding, people marked for death. He would drive to their locations, pack them into his vehicle, sometimes under blankets, sometimes in the trunk, and begin the perilous journey back to safety. His route was a map of terror, dotted with makeshift roadblocks manned by the Interahamwe, militias drunk on power and banana beer, their machetes stained with blood. For any other person, these checkpoints were a death sentence. For Mbaye Diagne, they were a stage. He knew every commander by name. He would laugh, share a joke, hand out cigarettes. He projected an aura of unshakable confidence and almost insane bravery that baffled the killers. They simply didn't know what to make of this towering, unarmed Senegalese officer who treated them not as monsters, but as nuisances to be charmed and navigated around. Day after day, he ran this gauntlet. He made dozens of trips, ferrying 4, 5, sometimes 6 people at a time. He wasn't just saving lives. He was smuggling hope through the darkest streets of Kigali, one soul at a time. The price of a soul. He paid a price for his humanity, not just in the immense risk he took every single day, but in the emotional toll it extracted. His fellow officers at UNAMIR watched in a mixture of awe and terror. His commanding officer, General Romeo Dallaire, knew of his unsanctioned missions but chose to look the other way, recognizing that in the face of such evil, Diagne's insubordination was the only sane moral response. Yet Diagne remained isolated in his quest. He was a Muslim in a predominantly Christian country, a foreign soldier who cared more for the people of Rwanda than many of their own leaders. He saw things no human should see. He drove past bodies piled up like firewood. He heard the cries of those he could not save. Yet, he never allowed the darkness to extinguish his light. Survivors recall his constant smile, his reassuring words in broken French. "Ça va, ça va. It's okay, it's okay." He was their guardian angel. He never asked for anything in return. He simply saw a human being in peril and believed it was his duty to act. In a world that had turned its back, his small jeep became a sanctuary, a promise that humanity had not been entirely lost. The number of people he saved is estimated to be in the hundreds, perhaps over 1,000. We will never know the exact count. For Mbaye Diagne, it was never about the numbers. It was always about the next life, the next soul he could pull from the fire, an echo of courage. On May 31st, 1994, just weeks before the genocide ended, Captain Mbaye Diagne was driving back to the UN compound. He was alone, unarmed as always. A stray mortar shell, a random act of violence in a conflict defined by it, landed near his jeep. Shrapnel struck him and he was killed instantly. The man who had faced down killers with a smile, who had driven through the heart of a genocide countless times, was taken by a cruel twist of fate. His light was extinguished. For years, his story was largely forgotten, a footnote in a tragedy the world wanted to forget. But those he saved never forgot. They told their children about the brave Senegalese soldier who had been their salvation. Slowly, his legacy resurfaced. In 2014, the United Nations finally gave him the recognition he deserved, creating the Captain Mbaye Diagne Medal for Exceptional Courage in his honor. It is a legacy forged not in battle, but in defiance of indifference. The story of Mbaye Diagne is a searing reminder that in the face of overwhelming evil, the greatest weapon is not a gun, but the unwavering courage of a single individual who refuses to look away. His echo of courage ripples through time, asking each of us a simple, profound question. When faced with the darkness, what will you choose to do? Like Captain Diagne, there are countless stories of heroes hidden in the forgotten corners of history. These are the tales that prove that even in the darkest of times, a single person can make an immense difference. To help us bring these stories to light, and to ensure you never miss these powerful narratives of the human spirit's resilience, please subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to keep this torch lit and continue telling these vital stories. Thank you for watching.